Welcome to our humble little office. My name is Keith Andrews, and I am the owner of Inner Voice Enterprises. Now, we have discussed a lot of things in the past, and today we are going to be discussing planning. That is both spiritual and physical planning, as well as attaining the goals that you set for yourself. Now, hopefully things are going to work out. And this video will be a predecessor or a precursor, if you will, to the topic we are discussing on The Gathering, which is a radio show that I do every Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern until 7 p.m. Eastern on kgraradio.com. Fortunately, we are also at that radio station. We are also on Bluetooth and Shoutcast. So I do look forward to seeing all of you there. Please drop by. And when you get there, it would be really appreciated if you would let us know in the live chat room, if that's where you happen to get to, that you did hear about us from YouTube. Now, this, like my radio shows, is a live broadcast. I don't rehearse it. I don't discuss a whole lot of things as far as to myself, so you'll find that I do make miscalculations. This being said, I also am a firm believer that when you're dealing with striving to plan anything, there's an old saying that is very accurate, and it goes, people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. Well, I'm a prime example of how that can work. When you don't plan things out, you'll find, for instance, my talking to you isn't, shall we say, polished. I don't see the point in polishing it. Life isn't polished. So I do it this way. I go, I'm thinking of talking about planning, so what is my first step? This applies to, as I said, spiritual and physical planning. Now, the first thing you got to remember, or that you have to think about, is there are 3 steps in physical manifestation. One is you turn around and you think about what you'd like to say. You think about what you'd like to attain. You may talk about it to your friends. You may turn around and go, and discuss the possibilities of what could happen, good or bad, and run it through your head time and again. That's great, because what that does is it gets the thoughts going, it gets the juices running, the creative thought process is great. Now, that's the first step in physical manifestation. The second step is the one that most people forget to do, and that is they forget to actually give it physical form, whatever the thought. If it's a house you're planning on building, then thinking about doing it, talking about doing it is great, and it's a fabulous place to start. But by giving it physical form, by writing it down, if you choose to show somebody else, you've got something solid. You can go, here's what I'm talking about. Have it, take a look at it. And what ends up happening is now they can get the excitement going as well, if it happens to be that kind of a project. Even if it's a thought like, I desire to lose weight. Well, I personally never think in terms of losing weight, because when you strive to lose something, almost invariably, you'll go out and find it. Okay, you'll go out looking for it again. Well, if you lose weight, the funny thing with weight is weight has a tendency of coming back with friends. So you lose 10 pounds, you find 15. Not a good thing. Not in my eyes, anyway. So when we talk about that side of it, if you're looking to get rid of weight, look at dropping it, look at reducing your weight, look at redistributing it, look at becoming stronger, but write down the goal you have. If you desire to lose 10 pounds, don't go, I desire to lose 10 pounds. Go, I desire to be X weight. X being, I desire to be 180 pounds, or I desire to be 105 pounds. Okay, Then give yourself a reasonable deadline. Where it comes to something like cleaning out a living room, you know, if you desire to clean it up front to back, top to bottom, vacuuming included, that could be a massive job in some cases. Maybe it's not a question of it being disorganized. It may be simply a case of you having a big room. Break it down into 15-minute to half-hour jobs. This will enable you to get the job done, because if you get pulled away from it and you've locked it up as a 2-hour job, then what you're doing is you're going, I need 2 hours to get that job done, and if I get pulled away, I'm going to feel like I didn't accomplish it. By breaking it down into 15-minute to half-hour jobs, then if you get pulled away, you still feel like you got something done and you can check off the smaller jobs. Third step in doing it is go out and do the physical legwork. Talking about cleaning a room or talking about cleaning your car is not going to happen if you don't leave the seat that you're sitting on. Okay, you're just not going to accomplish it. Because I don't know about you, but I can't really turn around and clean my car by sitting in my living room. So when we look at the planning side of it, that is how it goes about. Now, that's the easiest way to put it. Now, the other part of planning, of course, is do not listen to anyone that tells you it can't be done. It absolutely can. Now, there's a very big thing to keep in mind here. As far as I've come to understand, there is nothing on the planet that cannot be done, but there's a lot that we don't know how or we don't remember how to do just yet. This being said, remember to use common sense. Because when you're talking about common sense, when you're talking about looking at doing something, I tell you there's nothing that can't be done. And I will stand by that. But things like, when we're talking the spiritual side of things, people say it's possible to walk through a wall. Well, it absolutely is. It's been witnessed. It has been done. That in mind, don't go trying to walk through a wall. The odds are you're not going through it, because there's a lot more to it than that. So, and this is what I mean by common sense. If you think that, it can be done, that you can jump off a building, well, you certainly can. And the theory is that you can land safely regardless of the height. Problem: gravity has a tendency of arguing the point. Now, we can talk about illusion, you can talk about all the philosophies you want, and we can also go back to the idea of modern physics stating, just to give you an idea, modern physics, from my understanding, says that the bumblebee cannot fly. That little black and yellow bee, according to modern physics, from my understanding, it doesn't. Its wings don't have enough surface area. It doesn't flap fast enough to get off the ground. But as we all know, the bumblebee flies. So clearly it can. This applies to a lot of things. Just because nobody's seen it done, or just because nobody has figured out how to do it, doesn't make it impossible. It simply means it hasn't been done in recent knowledge. Now, this is basically the idea behind planning. Think through what you desire to accomplish. Write it down. Write it on paper. Pen, paper, put it on a computer. Give it physical form. And then go out and do the legwork. Now, we are just about out of time, because I give myself about a 10-minute run on these broadcasts, on these little clips for YouTube. So, by all means, drop by the gathering Saturdays, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at kgraradio.com. We'll be discussing this topic: planning both spiritual and physical planning and attainment on the show this Saturday, which is, and of course I have to look at my notes, it is on Saturday, March the 23rd. If you'd like a look, if you take a look at airnath.com, EARNATH.com, you can get a list of all the topics we've already covered, and you can get a list of the upcoming topics. So, this being said, we're going to call it in. We're going to shut this down now and bid you a very, very pleasant day or evening, or whenever you happen to be listening to this. Take care of yourselves and keep smiling.